share my screen. Should be good to go. Okay, awesome. Let's just get started. Uh, Okay, awesome. So, yeah, today, we would be discussing something around, hacking the data layer for AI and how can we do that with the use of Filecoin. So, what does Filecoin offer and how does it helps AI to, bring its own flavor and help enhance what more we can do with blockchain and AI together. Uh, a small introduction about myself. So I'm Rishikesh Kale. I'm developer advocate at Philby, which is also called as Phil Builders, and I'm also 19 times Web3 hackathon winner, and have been building projects around both Web3 as well as AI since a period of time. Cool. So what's our goals for today? So we would first try to recap the basic concepts of what's decentralized storage concepts. I assume that most of you might have, already have learned uh, over the period of time in this cohort, like what is IPFS, what is Filecoin, but we will just, try to touch base upon it and get to know some better insights. So our aim goal would be to explore a complete machine learning pipeline and that we are going to build on Filecoin. Awesome. So, firstly, why does AI need decentralized storage? Okay. So, if you are wondering how does Filecoin enables the use cases around AI? So, firstly, you might be knowing that whatever data that is the AI is fed with, it would act accordingly. If it is fed with garbage data or invalid data, then it won't produce the accurate results. So every result of an AI model depends upon the data that it is trained on as well as the data it is fed with. Okay. So recently, you might have played around with ChatGPT, the image generation flow. So if you give ChatGPT a reference image, that is a better one, it would generate a much better response. But if you just give it a simple prompt to just as simple as design a dice, so it would just give you a very basic design. But if you give it some inspiration, that is if you fed it with some good data, it would give you some better results. Now, let us assume that you are given two types of ML models. Okay. So first model, what it does, it diagnoses whether you are, if you are having diabetes or not. And another model does the same. So let's name the two models A and B. Okay. So now, uh, let us say that the A model, you know everything like what data was the particular model trained on, who trained the model, and every history behind that, and in a verifiable way. But for model B, you don't know that on which particular data set was this model trained. What's the model choice you would go for? You opt for model A or model B? We would be opting for definitely model A because we are dealing with our medical diagnosis, and while doing so we should always know that whatever model we are experimenting with or dealing with is authenticated or not, and that's where the role of decentralized storage comes into picture. So so what are the decentralized storage solutions available? So IPFS and Filecoin. So what they both offers are like resilience and fault tolerance. So both of them addresses the content based on the value of the content and not location of where the data is stored. Then we have like data sovereignty and ownership. By that we mean we will be discussing about the concepts like data DAO as well. So we will cover that in that particular subtopic. Then censorship resistance. So in today's world, like there are talks like wherein like if uh, the data set is not favorable for some group of people, then it won't be passed and people would add like censorship on that. But with decentralized storage, there's no control, centralized control over that. So you can have real and authenticated data that is gathered from various places of the world. So this allows to creating a decentralized storage global market. Cool. So a small comparison between IPFS and Filecoin. So IPFS is meant for like decentralized file sharing and retrieval system, whereas like Filecoin allows permanent decentralized storage along with providing incentives to the storage providers. Then the storage mechanism for IPFS is that it stores the files across network of the nodes, whereas in Filecoin, the storage procedure of the file depends upon the node that is provided for storage and in exchange of some payment. So as simple as like you reserve or rent a particular node for a given period of time, and you can now store your data in the particular node. Okay. In IPFS, there are no incentives for the participants or the node participants, but in Filecoin, if you become a node or like a storage provider, you would be incentivized with the like the local cryptocurrency called as like Phil. So Phil is the native cryptocurrency of Filecoin blockchain. Now, data persistence. With IPFS, you cannot guarantee whether your data would be stored forever or not. Just give it a thought, like why would anyone on this earth store your data for free? Either like you are very famous or your data is very valuable. Only in that manner like folks can store your data. But that's the solution which Filecoin brings in. So it is designed for long term and reliable data persistence, which means that if you are creating a deal of data storage on Filecoin, your data would be persistently stored. So on towards the right hand side, you can see like there are few logos. So Pinata, Infura, all these are like pinning services which are for IPFS, whereas like Akave, Storacha, Lighthouse, and ES Store are like some of the solutions which are built on Filecoin that allows you to store data seamlessly on Filecoin. So how does the evaluation of like Filecoin occurred? So on the base layer we had IPFS, then we had like layer zero, which is the storage layer, and also known as like named, which was named as like Filecoin. Then on top of it, like couple of years back, it gave birth to Filecoin Virtual Machine, which introduced programmatic storage. And now we are talking about interplanetary consensus with IPC, so we can like have a dedicated chain for a particular dApp to have a scalable storage layer solution. So that's how the evolution of like data storage in the ecosystem of IPFS and Filecoin came. So now deep learning workflow with Filecoin. First, like while having a look onto like how we can do is there's a popular like tweet which mentioned that DeepSeek, which is again an open source AI model solution, so its model is now preserved via Lighthouse storage on Filecoin forever. So anybody can use it from any part of the world without having any like censorship issues, as well as like you can just play around with it, install it locally, download it locally from the model which is hosted on Filecoin. Okay, so now how does the deep learning workflow works with Filecoin? So we are going to build a full deep learning workflow using Filecoin, and that we are going to do via Lighthouse storage. You can also opt for various on-ramp service providers, for example, like Akave or Storage. Okay, so we would be using Lighthouse. So what's the first step? Source and upload dataset to Filecoin, then train the deep neural network on it, and then finally upload the trained model, for example, like DeepOne, like DeepSeek, on Filecoin for anybody to use, and then you can query the trained model which is hosted on Filecoin. Okay, so are we going to do this? We are actually going to do this in coming few moments. So let's go. So just having a sense of like flow, how we are going to do it. The first step would be uploading the custom data set. So we would be building a model that would detect like whether the patient has diabetes or not. So for that, would be first gathering like a training data set, which you can do it via any means. For example, you can set up a data DAO that incentivizes the patients to share their medical data, so that we have a wide range of healthcare data with us to build a robust ML model. So these are the data sourcing ideas. The first one is data DAO. Then there's an application named as Dallin, which is again one of the popular data DAO, which you can have a look at. You can either leverage that or you can build your own data DAO as well. Okay. Then the other option is publicly hosted datasets. So if you navigate to like datasets.filecoin.io, there are plenty of datasets for you available. And if you don't find the dataset that aligns with your use case, you can always create your own dataset and host it on Filecoin. We would be doing the second one. That means that we would be creating a dummy dataset and then hosting it on Filecoin. Once the dataset is ready and it's uploaded on Filecoin, the next step is to train the deep neural network, which is followed by once the training process is done, you will have a trained model, and that trained models needs to be stored on Filecoin. Awesome. And once the model is ready and hosted on Filecoin, the next step would be to query the ML model. So uh, we are all set to build this. So I will share the QR code for the the GitHub repository, which is a demo repository, wherein like we will be executing this flow. But if you just want to walk around, you can just opt for this. I will maybe just paste it right over here for anyone to catch up. Okay, so very basic steps. First step, you need to clone this QR code, then install the dependencies. Before that, you might also want to create. I'm inside a virtual environment. So when you actually just run the dependency script, it would ask you that do you want to create a virtual environment. So just create a virtual environment with this particular command, and then activate it with source. This is where the virtual environment is created. So all you need to do is run these two commands, and in the last step, you can install all these dependencies. So in interest of time, I have already installed all the dependencies which are required over here. So I will just open up the VS Code and have a look at the code once. So if you just have a look here, so first basic requirement is we would need the API key for Lighthouse. So how you can grab that is via navigating to lighthouse.storage, and then you can just click on get started and then log in. So I've already logged in to my account. I've created a very fresh account, and then in the API key section, let's just name like ML model Africa. Okay, and then I will just generate the API key. All cool. So this is my API key. Feel free to use it. This would be expiring in 14 days. So yeah. So, but always better to have your own API key. I won't mind you guys utilizing mine. Okay. So I will just replace the API key with the value which I just generated. I will just zoom this a bit for a better view. Okay. I'll just minimize this, and yeah, perfect. So our lighthouse object is created over here. So it just needs like couple of lines of code, and the lighthouse client is all set up for us to use. So there are different functions. I will just go through each function one by one. Okay, so the first function is create sample data set. So since we haven't built our own data down here, or like we don't have our own data set, what I have done is I've created a dummy data set which will have like various parameters in tabular format like age, BMI, blood pressure, glucose, insulin, skin thickness, DPF, and pregnancies. So all these are the data set which are or the parameters that are required to have a solid ML model that is able to diagnose whether you have diabetes or not. Definitely, the model which we are training here won't be so accurate because like there are different algorithms that can be used. But the purpose of this demo is not to learn about machine learning, but like how to leverage like Filecoin. If you are already known about building your own ML model, you can just play around with this initially, and you can enhance your ML model to bring more accuracy to the results. Then we have functions to upload the model to Lighthouse. So it is done in just a single line of code. So lighthouse dot upload and pass in the source file or the file path that you want to store, and you should be good to go. So just a single line of code and your data is safely securely stored on Filecoin via Lighthouse storage. Then we have like different functions, which is nothing but like uploading model to the Lighthouse. Same again. So this would be the model path, which is trained, and then we have model info that we need to store, and another one is like uploading the model and then downloading the model as well. And lastly, we train the model, wherein like we pass the data set, and here we would be using like random forest classifier algorithm to train the data set. You can choose your own one that suits your use case, and you can build your own ML model with more and more accuracy. So as you can see, like the entire flow depends upon what data it is fed with. If now this since this is like a dummy data set, there are maximum chances that our ML model won't be performing to the level best. But if we replace this with an authenticated data set that is fetched via a data DAO and stored onto the Filecoin network for anybody to see on which ML model, on which dataset was this ML model trained on, it would give a better feeling for any patient or user to use this. Cool. And lastly, there's the main function. So it's like nicely written with steps. The first one is create and uploading a dataset, then downloading the dataset and training the model. And then step number 4, we would be like downloading and querying the trained model again, and then finally make the predictions and get the prediction probabilities. So let's actually try to execute this. And the name of file, maybe I'll just grab it from here. Oops, it just got copied twice, and all good. I'll just zoom in I guess a bit, and it would go through, perform the required operations which are required, and it will also store the data on Lighthouse. Once the data set is stored on Filecoin or on Lighthouse, you should be able to see all the files that were part of this entire process being reflected onto dashboard. So if you just see, these are the same steps which are mentioned in the readme as well. So whenever like you feel any doubt or got confused with the entire workflow, so these are the 4 steps which which would enable you to build a ML AI Filecoin pipeline. So the various benefits of how you can do that, and as it is mentioned that never hard code API keys in your source code. but that's exactly what we have done. So this is a very like basic starter kit, and you it is like expected from your end that you amplify this, convert this into an entire like Python project, like wherein you will be having environment variables. You should pass the API key via the environment variables, and not like this, wherein we have hard coded it. Okay, so our ML model is working finally, and we have some results. So process. The first step is like creating sample diabetes prediction dataset. Dataset was created successfully. You can see like there was like some parts that were created, and where like you would find out like the ML model would be trained, and the data set would be stored somewhere. And if you want to have a look there, you can just refresh it here, and you would find the data set. So we just like as of today, few minutes back, we have the diabetes data set CSV file, then job lib file, which is the trained model, and then like model info. So let's go back and have a look here. So the first step is uploading the sample data set to Lighthouse storage. So we did that. So if we just like query this particular CID, maybe like do we have the okay. So maybe I will just use this. Mm, Just copy link and boom. Yeah, just paste it right over here. If you see that this is the CID, the content identifier value for our sample data set, and it just got downloaded, and you can just view it locally as well. Now the data set is uploaded successfully. We have the data set CID, and you can access it from here. Then the next one is fetching it from Lighthouse storage. So we are fetching it from this particular URL, and it would be saved to this particular folder. So it's in the root of my device, so you can just navigate to that particular file, or else like you can also change where do you want the file to be stored locally while training the model. Okay, so now the next step would be training the model. So our model is currently trained with 0.4450 percent accuracy, so which is very very low. So your model should or at least be 0.85 and above. That's the very bare minimum requirement. Anything above like 9.95 would be a awesome trained model, which would give you the most accurate result. So this happened because we used dummy dataset and not the accurate dataset. So making use of accurate dataset would help you train the model with better accuracy. Then next we have like uploading trained model to Lighthouse storage. So once the model is trained, the it would automatically like push the model to Lighthouse storage, and it will have this particular content identifier. So it ends in like 2PA if you just want to cross verify. So 2PA, the job link file, that is nothing but the ML model file which you just trained. So as similar to as like DeepSeek, you can also have your own ML models trained and stored on Lighthouse storage. Okay, as simple as that. Then like uploading the model to Lighthouse storage, which we already did. So we have like model info, then you can access the model info at this part, you can access the model at this particular path. So this is the gateway URL. Since like we are using Lighthouse, so we can fetch the data via this particular URL. And next we have this particular like content identifier. If you replace this value with any other content identifier, it will showcase you that particular data set. Okay, then next step is like fetching from Lighthouse storage. So we uploaded the data to Lighthouse storage. Now our next job is to like fetching the data from Lighthouse storage, or in other terms like fetching the ML model from Lighthouse storage. Then like we would be providing an input. So let's assume that once this full-fledged application is developed, now a patient comes to the doctor. All the doctor needs to do is like he'll just have to provide this particular values like age, BMI, blood pressure, glucose value, insulin value, skin thickness value, then DPF value, and whether like the patient is pregnant or not. So it would be like 1 or 0. And if we provide that value, then it would say that the prediction says that it is diabetic, which might be true since like the glucose insulin value is quite high, and like non-diabetic chances are like 0.46, whereas like diabetic ratio is like 0.54. So more towards like diabetic. So it's like borderline diabetes have been like diagnosed for the patient. If you like update the the age, then like reduce the insulin, play around with the input data set, you would get a different amount of prediction. And that's how like we integrated the entire ML Filecoin pipeline model in just like 10 to 15 minutes. And now you can extend this to any other use case, or like you can train now any other ML model which you want, and you should be good to go. So just to revise what we have done so far, we have uploaded a custom dataset to Filecoin via Lighthouse, then fetched the dataset and trained a deep neural network on top of it, then saved and uploaded the trained model to Filecoin. Later on, like we queried the trained model by loading it and making predictions. And now it's your job and it's a challenge for you to extend it to any and other ML or AI model. So I will allow you to take a moment to quickly scan this QR code. This will take you to the GitHub repository of the code which we just had hands-on on. So you can just scan this and it will take you to the repository. If not, you can always navigate to like github.com/like fill builders, and you should find the GitHub repositories over there for you to play around with. And we have a wide range of like fill builders community which is ever growing. So like all the latest updates, what is happening, in coming days we will be launching like F3 the fast finality on Filecoin. So also like we are playing around with something around like data storage and creating these, how it can be created more efficiently. So having in this community, you can be part of this community and be the very first ones to leverage whatever is happening in the Filecoin ecosystem, and you can keep easy track of it. So that's pretty much for today. And if you have any queries now, I'm good to take that. Telegram link is not working. Just allow me a moment and I should give that to you. Cool. Here we go. This should work. Uh, it depends upon like how long you want to store. Typically, like the data sets or the data can be stored from like 3 to 6 months, and then the entire like flow of like the deal creation that gets like just like how you subscribe to OTT platforms, or like your like cell phones, how you recharge your mobiles. You can like continue the data deal to be stored, or like there's also a provision on Lighthouse to store the data on it like one time, pay it for like one time, and it would store it for like lifelong. So don't need to worry about recreating or refilling the data deals. Yes, I mean, like you can just just scan, visit this link, and it should take you to the Telegram for that. So users will need to subscribe before they continue. So does it mean the data will be deleted? No, the data is not deleted. So what happens, what how Lighthouse operates is like, firstly it would be storing your data on like IPFS, and then it would be creating the data deal with storage provider on Filecoin. So it would if you are creating a data, so your Lighthouse like what we have done as of today, it will allow you to store the data for lifelong. But if you just pay for like storing for just 6 months, then it will just create a deal for 6 months separately. So if you visit Lighthouse documents, there's a provision wherein like you can because at times you might need the data to be stored just for 3 months, that's it, and then erase the data. So it can also do that, but if you want to store it for like lifelong, you can do it as well. So can we train a model based on any data and trying to build something around an AI chatbot? Yeah. So in today's like example, we did it around prediction of diabetes, but you can come up with your any sort of training model. Uh, uh, you can choose either like do you want to continue with like random forest classification, or you want to choose any other ML model. Just the requirement would be that following the four steps, that is firstly accumulating the data set, that you can do via data DAO, or is simply create a CSV file and then upload it on Filecoin. Once you have the data set ready, what happens like once you store the data set on Lighthouse or like Filecoin, the data set would get public. So anybody if they want to make sure that should I trust your model or not, they can see that okay, the model was trained on authenticated data set, so I can trust you. So that's the very first step. Next step is like to making your ML model open source. So that's what like DeepSeek did. But like if you store host the DeepSeek model on any other like centralized platform, they might erase it at any point of time. But storing it on like a decentralized storage, it would be stored forever. So nobody can interrupt with that, and you will have the ML model open sourced for lifelong. So that's another added advantage. And lastly, you can just pull down the ML model, and you can just do any activity. Does the available DeepSeek was as efficient? Yeah, exactly. So it's just the DeepSeek model which is there. So it's even it even runs quite faster, because if you are dealing with servers, at times you might have faced issues that the server is down, but that's not the case with this. You can just download the DeepSeek model on your system, which is currently hosted on Lighthouse. So and you can just start playing around with it. It's comparatively way much faster. Any other queries? Yeah, further we can just continue the discussion in our Telegram
Okay,
group
Rich,
uh, with other people.
I think
Hi.
there's no. I'm trying to check the YouTube if we have any online questions there.
Are there any more questions?
I think I think Rich has done justice to everything. Um, okay, Jibrin is asking. I hope you will be available to further questions in the group chat. Okay, that's fine. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So the question to you, I hope you will be available to further response to any upcoming questions.
Yeah, even other mentors would be quite very active in the Telegram group.
Okay,
So
he will be
you can always ask them.
available
Yeah.
for your time. Uh, but guys, it's been a great time with Rich. Join the Telegram. Feel free to ping in. Um, I believe with this session, so you must have gotten some ideas on how to integrate add AI to your project as well. Thank you, Rich. So I'll chat you up, follow you up later on to know what next. Until then, signing out from here.